And welcome into Facebook Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of Pressbox and PressBoxOnline.com. Pressbox Live is brought to you by my friends at C3 American Exteriors. Go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible. I've gone out on site with these guys. I know these guys. I like these guys, and I trust these guys. It's C3 American Exteriors. There's no bigger expense you may have forced upon you than a roof. And these are guys I know and trust at C3 American Exteriors. Speaking of guys that I know and trust, I've got my partner Ross Grimsley here, the old left-hander. How
What's
are
up,
you,
Stan?
Lefty?
I'm doing great, buddy. How you doing?
All right. And our guest
Wonderful.
today, special guest, Bill
Yes.
Stetka, who is the head of alumni affairs of the Baltimore Orioles. And Bill, you've had several positions with the Baltimore Orioles. I imagine this has got to be kind of your favorite position because it really uses a lot of your skill set.
Yeah, I mean, I started out in PR. I joined the Orioles in '95 as assistant PR director. Became
John
director.
Maroon, right?
Yes, with John Maroon and I came in the same time. John left during the '99 season, and I became the director. Held that position into the 2000 into 2008 when John Angelos asked me to start up a player alumni program for the Orioles. We'd always used a few alumni in different community functions, but I think he wanted to really ramp it up. I don't think there was a time Julie Wagner, who was our longtime community relations director, Julie and I had talked about trying to get them to start up a player alumni program. I don't think people realize that we have about 35, 36 alumni who live in, I'd say from, like York, Lancaster down to DC. It's quite a group, and we're very fortunate in that respect. So when John asked me to start up the program in 2008, I moved from PR to alumni, and we've been going very strong ever since.
And do you think it's something that the club needed to do? I think it did, but I'm curious. Obviously, you agree, but talk a little bit about the discussions you and John had about the need to do this.
Well, I mean, it was a combination of different things. Like I said, there were a couple of alumni that they relied on, but Julie and I kept trying to impress upon him for several years that there were a lot more alumni in the area that we could take advantage of using for various events at the ballpark, various events in the community, and not keep tapping the same people
over and over again.
Yeah, and it's worked out very well. For like I said, for me, it struck at the heart. I mean, having grown up here, there are some of the Jim Gentiles and the Brooks Robinsons and the Boog Powells that and the Ross Grimsleys that I grew up watching as a younger fan, working for the Baltimore News American and covering the team for a number of years in the early to mid '80s, and then being in PR. I kind of have different generations of Orioles that I've worked with, and it's been a lot of fun for me getting to know these guys even better, and getting to know them personally, to where we go out to dinner and sometimes we don't even talk about baseball.
Yep. Ross, I know you got questions for
hey, but Bill does a great job. He does the Oriole Fantasy Camp. He's done that for years and does a super job with that. And I got to tell you, being a part of that is probably some of the most fun. I mean, for a week, we get to see guys we haven't seen in years. And Bill does a great job, and his staff putting that together. Hopefully that will be something coming up in the future we can do again, which is, like I said, it's a great time. And Bill, got a lot of friends, campers that have become close friends, and it's just a lot of fun. But the thing, one of the things I wanted to ask, is there any plans, obviously with the COVID situation being the way it is, what are the plans for this year? I know you had autograph sessions, the suite visits. Is that going to come up again, or just waiting to see how this COVID situation turns out?
Yeah, it's basically a wait and see.
Yeah.
For the last, 12, 13 years, we've done autograph sessions before games on Mondays and Thursdays. We have 3 guys come out and sign autographs for free for an hour before the game. And we have a player, a different alum, do suite visits to our corporate partner suites each game. Basically, with everything shut down now, pretty much, and limited attendance, everything's on hold right now. We can't access certain parts of the ballpark. So, and obviously we want to be safe, interacting with the fans, but with our alumni, we don't want them to be in a position where, they run the risk of contracting something. So,
yeah. What is one of the things that the younger players that are just getting out of baseball, are they getting involved with the alumni? Or I'm sure you've reached out for them, but it's really been hard over the years to get some of the young guys involved, because I know the fans would love it. The fantasy campers would love to see some of the younger guys that are just getting out of the game. What's the status of that?
Yeah, I mean, we have, I guess our younger alums in the area would be some people like Larry Bigby. Larry, several of our guys have settled in the area. They've married local girls that they met while they were in the minors.
Yeah.
So they've stayed local. We try to bring back some alums from out of the area a couple times a year. I guess in terms of the younger alums, there are a few that we're looking at bringing back. I had actually talked to several guys prior to last season about coming back, but obviously with no fans and all last year, and we're on hold now. So we're trying to get more of the younger guys involved.
Right.
Ross,
Sure.
let me just grab Bill and ask him, Bill, this technology, I don't think you, me, or Ross knew what Zoom was a year ago. Okay. We know it now, and we know how effective it is. I'm wondering if the Orioles and Major League Baseball teams, do they make much use of this in things like alumni events? Because you can do things virtually,
Yeah, we've done several events with Brooks Robinson and Eddie Murray, Rick Dempsey, Jim Palmer. We may do some more things, down the road. I know some other teams have done kind of virtual reunions, and we're looking at that as well. So.
Well, you do a thing every Sunday night, Bill, with several people that are able to come on, which has to be, you discuss some of the latest things going on in baseball. And that's one of the things I wanted to ask you is, you talk at the stadium, you talk to fans. I mean, I don't think you've done it this year because you hadn't been out there that much. You do a lot of work from home, but fans around the Baltimore area, what is the general feel of the fan? What are they, their experience at the park so far? What are some of their thoughts and ideas, I guess, of what's going on?
Well, you talk about with the team in terms of.
Yeah, just overall, talking to a fan, what are some of their concerns? Obviously, COVID is a big thing, but just, baseball in general, Orioles, what are their thoughts? What do they convey to you?
Well, I mean, for the most part, I think, in talking with, particularly a lot of our Dream Week, our fantasy camp guys, The fans, I went to opening day as a fan. My wife and I have a mini season ticket plan. And I saw probably 8 or 9 guys from the fantasy camp there. A couple of them I didn't recognize with masks on, but
Really?
we managed. And I think, them guys that I play golf with, that I see at Hobbit's Glen regularly. I think people get what we're going through with the rebuild, and they understand it, and they see some progress. And the more I can tell them, there's help in other areas that's still in the minors. That I think in a couple of years, we're going to be right in the thick of things. It's not going to happen overnight. It could, but I think 2 to 3 years down the road, I think we're going to be in good shape. In terms of the ballpark, what's not to love about Camden Yards?
Right.
I was just down in Miami last week. I actually took a trip down there. I hadn't been to Miami Stadium yet. It became my 50th Major League Baseball stadium.
Congratulations.
Been to.
Yeah.
And they had 4,000 fans there. Probably 500 of them were Oriole fans. And to me, the ballpark was, it beats Joe Robbie, but that's about it. It's not.
Right.
It's nowhere near my favorite.
Right.
Hey, Bill, one of the jobs you have, I guess it's officially, you're the team historian, correct?
The de facto historian.
De facto
I don't have
historian.
that in my title.
So do you have any special insight into the Oriole career of number 48 here, Ross Grimsley? And first of all, let me ask you, he is not an O's Hall of Famer.
No, he is not. And I have to look into that.
Okay.
I didn't do enough.
We're gonna make a late
done more, but it didn't.
We're gonna make a late push.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it says Ross. Ross is, aside from the Orioles, Ross is the only pitcher in Montreal Expos history to win 20 games.
He's the only pitcher in
Only
Expo history.
Montreal Expo to win 20 games in a season. Beyond that, on September 11th of 1974, Ross pitched 14 innings to a no decision.
That's
Wow.
true. Not a lot of people know that.
Yeah, 14 innings. The game went 17 innings. It was the first game of a doubleheader.
Right.
Grant Jackson ended up.
Earl was trying to get him out permanently, right? So he left
Well,
him
Earl actually had gotten kicked out of the game.
Right.
For
Yes,
argument.
he did.
But Ross threw 14 innings, gave up 12 hits, 2 runs, or I'm sorry, 3 runs. We ended up winning 4-3 in the 17th inning. Boog Powell hit a pinch hit single. The interesting thing, there's 2 interesting things about that. One, no one has thrown more innings in a game since then. There have been 8 guys who have thrown 14 innings.
Now, is the club record Jerry Walker 17 innings?
16 innings.
16 innings.
16 innings, Jerry Walker, yeah. But 14 innings that Ross threw in 74. 4 guys threw 14 innings in 79, and 4 guys threw 14 innings in 80 in Major League Baseball. But
Wow.
nobody has thrown more than that.
Earl liked to use this.
Yeah.
I had, I think of several starts before that, I threw 12 innings.
You did earlier
another
that year, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then another time, 11. I pitched a shutout against Cleveland, against Perry. I think it was 1-0, 12 innings. But yeah, Earl, hey, if you're on a roll, that's just like coming out of the bullpen with Tippy. If Tippy was hot, he was in there every single day. Didn't matter. Just go get him.
Well, here's another interesting tidbit. Ross's dad, Ross Sr., pitched in 7 games for the White Sox in 1951.
I did not know that.
September
Yes, he
call
did.
up, pitched in 7 games. He pitched a total of 14 innings and gave up 12 hits. The same thing
That's-
Ross gave up
I didn't
In
know
one
that.
game.
14 inning game.
I matched him
That's
in
a
one game.
That's
Yeah,
a great
exactly.
You
tidbit.
know, he
Exactly.
pitched against Ted Williams, and he
Your
told
dad
me,
pitched. Your dad pitched against Ted Williams.
yes, and he said, I made him hit the ball to left field. He got a double, but I made him hit it to left field. I'm going, that's good. There you go.
Hey, Bill, it's funny you mentioned the 14 inning game. Am I correct that on Labor Day, either 73 or 74, that Ross Grimsley and Mike Cuellar both shut out the Red Sox on the same day?
Yes, in 74, Ross actually started our 5 straight shutouts.
That's right. It was a streak of 5 shutouts, right?
Yeah, which was equaled by the 95 Orioles. The 95 Orioles finished the season with 5 shutouts. That's the American League record. The 1903 Pirates.
It's funny why. It's funny why I remember that. I was parking cars in Atlantic City, New Jersey that summer, and a friend of mine, a buddy of his, came by and he goes, "It's just like in the middle of June," and he goes, "Hey, I'm going up to Boston. I'm going to see the Red Sox play." And I go, "Hey, can you buy me a couple of tickets? The Orioles are playing up there in mid-September." And he came back about 4 days later and he gave me the tickets. And the race was incredible until Labor Day. And between like August 30th and September 9th, the Orioles went from like a half a game behind to like 8.5 games in front. And all of a sudden I said, I'm not going up to Boston now to see these games. It's not even exciting. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Well, Ross started actually, I think Dave McNally had like 1 scoreless inning
Right.
on the day before. Then Ross threw a shutout, and Cuellar threw a shutout, and I guess Palmer did, and but so 5 shutouts later, Ross is pitching again, and he went 8 innings of
Yeah.
shutout ball. Gets to the 9th inning, and Charlie Spikes hits a 2-run homer off.
Right. I'm going, are you kidding? We were up 3-0.
Yeah.
And I said, hit it. You know,
Did
and
we
he
still
did.
win
And
the-
they ended that.
Did we
So-
still win the game?
Yeah, 3-2.
Yeah, he won the game 3-2.
Yeah.
But it ended at 54 consecutive
Right.
scoreless innings, which is still the AL record.
The AL record.
That's like I tell you, when it becomes a contest between each pitcher. But much like you get on a roll and you see some of these Oriole kids are starting to do some things that are kind of exciting to see them. Now they can continue doing it over the season. That'll be a big thing. But you start, one guy does it, then you do it, and the next guy wants to do it. You don't want to be that guy that doesn't go out and hold his own. But
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun when things are going good.
Hey, Bill, I wanted to talk to you. It'll be probably scaled down, but the Orioles are doing a Hall of Fame ceremony this year. And I'm proud to play a part in that. I'm one of the selectors or I get a vote.
Right.
And I think we got a great class this year. Why don't you talk about Mike Devereaux and JJ Hardy?
Yeah, Mike Devereaux is our veteran selection. Mike had some great years with the Orioles. He joined us in '89, and that was what a great year that was. The Why Not team had some good years there. Then he went to Atlanta. He went to the White Sox in Atlanta. Became the NLCS MVP with the Braves. Then came back to us in '96 when we made the playoffs for the first time in 13 years. And a good guy. I mean, Ross knows him from our Dream Week. Mike, started with the Dodgers, did play for a couple other teams, but always considered himself an Oriole. I had the pleasure of telling him that he had been elected, and he started crying.
Yeah, I was going to say he was so excited. I talked to him. He couldn't have been. I asked him what he did. He said we partied all night.
Yeah.
So he is so. It was so. He just couldn't believe it, and it was probably. It sounded like it was the biggest thing in his life. So it was. it was great talking to him, and he was just so proud.
Now,
Yeah,
can
and,
I
and
jump?
JJ Hardy, was the glue to, the Orioles, basically from what, 11 to 18,
Right, exactly.
I mean, he was the glue to that whole infield. Had some, put up some decent offensive numbers and, kind of shepherded, Manny through a lot of things and all. And
I want to jump in and ask because Bill, you got to watch Mark Belanger, and this guy, am I right, Ross? You pitched in front of him.
Yes, sir.
Do you think I'm correct in saying that JJ Hardy had all the same mechanics of playing shortstop, including getting totally in front of balls, getting his glove down, and then when he'd come up to throw, he'd have a kind of a pause and then zing it like that? I mean, the two of them were very similar defensive players, and I say that with the utmost respect for Mark Belanger.
yeah, I think, Mark had a gun. I mean, it was, when I watch film of Mark Belanger, it's, he could throw from off his feet and with such zip on the ball. We've been very blessed in Baltimore.
Yeah.
With shortstops.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
starting with Willie Miranda, Billy
Yep.
Hunter in 54, 55, and on down the line. I mean, in recent years, to have had, Mike Bordick, who I think was vastly underrated. A guy that you don't appreciate till you see him play every day. Miguel Tejada, was a fine shortstop for us. And JJ is another one of those guys that, until okay, he's in Milwaukee, he's in Minnesota, you don't think about him too much. But when you get to see him every day, you realize how good and trustworthy he is, not going to make a mistake, going to be in the right position every time. Just
What was his attitude did you get to tell him too?
yes, and he was extremely excited. He recalled seeing a couple of the ceremonies, before games, and when Brian Roberts was elected to the Orioles Hall of Fame, so he was, he was thinking back to those times and was just like, I can't believe I'm going to be one of those guys, so it was very exciting. And Joe Angel going in as the Herb Armstrong Award winner for non-uniform personnel. Joe was ecstatic. Got to catch up with him. And of course, this year we have Mo Gabba, who is second fan of the Wild Bill Hagee Fan Award.
I think that is one of the classiest moves that the organization has done in honoring Mo Gabba.
Yeah, I mean, people look at it as if there's a lot of people that say they're fans, but who can inspire others? And
Really.
the way Wild Bill did with
Yep.
his fandom, and the way Mo did, is just unbelievable. And
Yeah.
couldn't be happier or prouder to have him, inducted as well.
Bill, when are they going to have the ceremony?
The ceremony is August. Now I'm blanking on the date. I believe it's the first Saturday in August.
Yeah.
I'm
thinking of 12th or 13th, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we play Tampa.
Right.
August, I don't know, 7th or 8th or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll have a ceremony. Hopefully, we'll be able to do the Hall of Fame luncheon the day before. Obviously, with things right now, we're hopeful that things will, restrictions will be loosened and we'll be able
Right.
to put more people both in the ballpark as well as at the ceremony and luncheon the day before. So.
Hey, Bill, we really appreciate your coming on tonight. The Orioles are en masse tonight. If you're watching this live on Facebook Live right now, at 7:05, Devi Garcia against Matt Harvey. I wanted to ask you, though, in closing out, you've gotten a rare glimpse into the relationship between the ball club and the players that played for it. How special is it for those players to be alumni and to be so honored um, of the Baltimore Orioles?
Well, I mean, I think it shows every time when I bring somebody through, um, if I bring them through the clubhouse and introduce them to, if I'd introduce them to Buck Showalter or introduce them to Brandon Hyde, different players, that they're in awe. First of all, if they didn't play at Camden Yards,
Right.
in awe of the facility. A lot of times they get to, connect with somebody they played with or against back in the day. Some of them get to see, maybe it's a trainer, maybe it's Brian Ebel that they worked with, either in the minors or the majors. And I think they all appreciate, what we do. As I said, we have about 35, 36 guys that live in the area. We're very fortunate. There are a number of clubs, that are similar to Baltimore, the Clevelands, the Minnesotas, that they may have 4 or 5 guys that live in the area.
Right. Right.
They didn't stay there. We're very fortunate to have as many as we do, that we can spread it out, and then to bring guys in, to bring a Mike Devereaux in, to bring in, I'm blanking on all the guys we've brought in.
JJ, yeah.
But Jim Gentile,
Yeah.
Jim loves coming back.
There's a bunch of them.
Oh yeah. I
They
mean,
all
there's a
love
bunch.
coming back.
Yeah, I know.
but they all like coming back. They've all enjoyed, reconnecting with fans, seeing the ballpark, seeing other players, who are in the area. Jackie Brandt is another one that comes back.
He's a character.
What a character Jackie is. Yeah. But they all enjoy it. During the non-COVID times, we provide tickets for them if they're, if they want to come. So that's a big thing. I mean, it's funny, one of the guys that usually comes down once or twice a year is Mike Messina. Mike will come down from Pennsylvania. We, provide him tickets. He'll usually stay overnight, see a Saturday night, Sunday afternoon game. Bring his boys, and Jana, his wife. And he said, they've never gone, his boys have never had a desire to go to Yankee Stadium.
Interesting.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Really?
And when they show up, the boys are in Orioles jerseys.
That's great. That's great to hear that.
Yeah,
Really?
it's all good. And I mean, Mike is very low key. Very, he's kind of an introvert, but very low key. Had to almost beg him one time to let us show him on the board and introduce him and everything.
Right.
But he's a good guy. It took me a while to get to kind of know him.
Right.
When I came with the Orioles. The icebreaker was the fact that my mother was born in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, same as him. So that kind of gave us an in. And crossword. He's a big crossword puzzle fanatic. So
you had that in common.
Yeah, Sam Perlazzo would always ask me for answers, and Sam and Mike were doing a crossword one day, and they're doing the Sunday New York Times, and Sam called me over and said, what do you got for this? I said, well, this one's wrong and that one's wrong, so it makes this. And Mike looked at me like, who are you?
There you go.
You mentioned Jackie Brandt. I still remember as a 10 or 11-year-old watching Jackie Brandt playing against either the White Sox or the Tigers in a road game on TV. And he had a gnat that was like flying around, and he like killed it. And then he's getting back ready to hit, and he calls a timeout, and he went down and Chuck Thompson's describing how he was doing a burial of the bug. Hey, one suggestion. You mentioned like the Herb Armstrong winner and the modern Oriole and the old Oriole. What we need is a new category for Grimsley. How about the old Oriole?
Thanks, Stan.
You like that one, Bill?
Of course, why not?
Sure.
Dump on him.
Oh,
Hey, you do a terrific job. You always have with the Baltimore Orioles. I know the Orioles are special to you and you're special to them. So really appreciate your coming on, and we view this show as kind of like an Oriole alumni show because Ross
pretty much.
got that Rolodex. We
Yeah.
got Bumbry, Stanhouse, we got everybody.
Well, holler if there's anybody you're looking for, and I'm more than happy to help. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. And go
Make
Orioles.
sure to let us know about the golf.
I will.
That's always a big thing.
Yeah, we have a guest day coming up, so I'll give you a shout, Ross.
Okay.
Hey, one last thing, since we're not up against the clock, the game doesn't start for 25 minutes. We've got a Baltimore Oriole, pretty famous Oriole, Bobby Grich, who you've kept me aware of. What is he doing with the golf thing? He's trying to play the top 100 courses. And is he close? Has he done it?
He actually finished it. Literally, let's see, 11 years ago, we did the 40th anniversary of the 1970 team.
Okay.
And Bobby comes in and said, do you know anybody at Wilmington Country Club? I'm trying to, he's trying to finish it was the 1991 Golf Digest Top 100 courses.
Okay.
So this is, 20 years in the making, trying to play the top 100 from that time. And I'm like, this weekend, I can't call somebody this weekend. So it ends up like 2 weeks later, I get a call from an old high school buddy, looking for somebody for an internship. And he worked at MBNA up in Wilmington. And I said, Charlie, do you happen to know anybody that belongs to Wilmington Country Club? He goes, you got somebody trying to play the top 100.
Yeah,
Bobby
yeah, I do.
I said, do you know anybody? He goes, yeah, me.
Oh, wow.
So it ended up, Bobby and I went up and played Wilmington Country Club with my friend Charlie Borman. A year later, at Christmas time, Bobby sent me a Merry Christmas text, and with it said, finally got Inverness 100.
He did make the 100.
22 years,
Yeah.
but he did finish it. So
That's great.
I don't know what
Good
he's
for
off
you.
to next. We were actually supposed to go, Bobby and his son were going to join me and a buddy last year out at Wrigley when the Orioles played the Cubs before COVID hit. Bobby has never been to Wrigley Field.
Oh, no
Wow.
kidding.
Yeah.
That's
So he was going to join us, and we were going to play golf out there. So we'll see. But
Great story. All right,
Yep.
Bill. Good luck the rest of this season. We'll talk to you soon. Give our love to Alex, okay?
Yes.
we'll do.
All right.
She's sitting here watching.
Alex
Oh.
Stetka is one of the best. She is
Thanks,
one
Bill.
of the best. All
Thanks,
right. Thank
Ross.
you very much.
All right, buddy.
That's to Jane and Bird too.
All right.
All
Want to
right.
remind you, everybody, that Pressbox Live tonight has been brought to you by C3 American Exteriors. Go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible. I know these guys, I like these guys, and I trust these guys. So if you need a roof, C3 American Exteriors. For Ross Grimsley and Bill Stetka, I'm Stan the Fan. I'll see you Wednesday night when Gary Stein and I will have somebody special from the world of sports. Bye.